Hey everybody, it's day 145 of Training Daily Excellence. My name is Brad Gieske, and today we are talking about the top 5 traits of a great soccer player. Number 5, a player that is physically gifted. While this is certainly the most flashy of all the traits, this is number 5 on my list. So if somebody's physically gifted, a lot of times that is a trait that they're born with. That's something that they've developed into, and it's something that we can hone with our physical training as well. But when somebody's physically gifted, it's a trait that, while excellent for the sport of soccer, it's not the number one thing I'm looking for. Number 4, they have unique traits. So I'm not looking for a cookie cutter type of soccer player. I'm not looking for everybody to be the same size and shape or even to have the same technical abilities. What I'm looking for is a player that has a unique trait or unique traits that allow them to fit into a specific role superbly. For instance, I want my center backs to be big and strong and confident, whereas I want my wingers to be a little bit smaller but quicker and also have some good ball skills. Number 3, a player that shows passion. Now, when you come to the field, do I know that you love to play just based on looking at your face? Do I know that you love to play just by seeing you play? To me, that's a great measure of an aspiring soccer player. That's going to be the type of player, the one that shows passion, that's going to put the ball on their feet and play every single day. And then playing every single day, that player is going to develop. So showing your passion and then sharing that passion is supremely important to soccer, but it's still not number 1. Number 2, somebody that does the little things. This is something that only higher level soccer coaches and scouts will recognize, but it's the players that take the looks. It's the players that do the little things. They make space for their teammates. They get into a space with the ball because they had taken a look during the previous play. Those types of players are next level players. And although they may not be flashy because they may not have the same physical gifts, and if they do have the same physical gifts and they're doing that, then they're going to be an incredible player. But if they do the little things and even have some sort of limitation in their physical game, they're going to do wonderful things for their teams on the field, and they're going to really support the success of their team in doing those little things well. So every player, as you get higher and higher and up in the levels, you need to do more and more of those little things. So can you take a look when you're off the ball? Can you get into a space, not necessarily so that you get the ball every time, but so that you open up space for a teammate? Can you have that forward of a thinking in order to facilitate play? And finally, our number 1 trait of an aspiring soccer player is a soccer player that listens. Okay, so coaches speak to you for a reason. I understand that not all coaches are of the same quality, but when you have a coach and they're trying to share shortcuts for your success, and not shortcuts in a bad way, but shortcuts in the sense that we're accelerating your learning curve, you must listen. It happens so often that there are talented players that just complain about being asked to do a task. And when you complain, one, psychologically you tune yourself out of the activity. You bring in a negativity to that activity that takes away from your focus on the activity. Okay? But even beyond taking away from the focus, you distract your teammates and you take quality out of that activity. So somebody that does not listen, somebody that makes excuses, is not only negative for themselves, but they sap energy out of their team. And so to me, and to many coaches out there, I'm sure, listening and being attentive taking advice and then going about attempting to implement it. It doesn't mean you do it perfectly every time, but what it does mean is that when something is explained to you and something's given to you, then you go about doing your best to implement that into your game. Okay? Because coaches are there to accelerate your learning curve. The Native American proverb says, "A teacher is one who makes themselves progressively less necessary." If you're a player that listens, this statement holds true. A teacher becomes progressively less necessary because you've learned all that they have to offer and you've implemented that to the best of your abilities into your game. Now, if you're a player that doesn't listen, it is untrue. The teacher becomes progressively more necessary because, one, you haven't grown from what they've tried to teach, what they've tried to pass on, if you haven't listened to what they've tried to pass on. And then in doing so, you've gone about it in your own way, which may or may not go to facilitating your successes to the best of your ability. Okay? So if you're a player that doesn't listen today, if you notice little traits in yourself that relate to being unfocused and not listening in session, so if you catch yourself kind of daydreaming, or if you catch yourself complaining for whatever reason, either in your mind or out loud, stop those things today. Start to make your teachers progressively less necessary in order that you can move on to the next step. Because it's just like grades in school. For you to go about passing one grade, you need to listen to your teachers and learn all the competencies of that grade before you can move on to the next one. Once you've managed to bring together those competencies, then you progress, then you progress, then you progress, and eventually you're at the top level of your game. But only if you listen to your teachers. So thank you guys so much. Like, subscribe, and share. I'll have another video for you tomorrow. In the meantime, go about being this player. A player that exhibits all 5 of these top traits of a great player.